I've been in this crazy industry of network marketing for a long time. Can I see a show of hands of those of you here who are just taking a look at this for the first time? All right, you guys got a lot of guests here. This whole presentation here is really on your behalf. And hopefully you're going to see what folks like um, Jerry and I saw when we first got introduced to this incredible technology, this product we're going to be talking about. But I've been involved in the network marketing arena since really about 1981. My background was in the area of sciences. I did research. I was an entrepreneur since I can remember, always doing something. You know, whether it was putting up, sheetrock and over the weekends and whatever I could do to make money on the side. And I got kind of snookered into one of these meetings back in 1981 where somebody had me going on a job to put up sheetrock, and it turned out to be an opportunity meeting. And I was like dressed to put up sheetrock. So it was really weird. And to make it even weirder, they made me wear a tie. They gave me a tie. So I'm like wearing like bib overalls and a tie. I mean, so very interesting proposition. And I'm thinking, I'm going to get this guy, right? but but I paid attention to what they were talking about because I didn't have a clue understanding what this concept of leverage is that can be deployed in this type of an industry. And I was like really impressed. I came out of that saying, my God, I had no idea how powerful this concept was. But unfortunately, the person that had got me to go to the meeting, he knew that I was irritated about it, and he never got back to me. And I forgot about it for quite some time. It wasn't until I had moved to California. This was actually prior to 1981. I moved to California in 1981 from Baltimore, where I grew up. And then I had another chance to go to a meeting. And that time I was already kind of poised because I'd kind of forgotten about the idea. And I thought, you know what? I am really going to pay attention to this because I know this is something important. And I would encourage you, if you're new taking a look at that, to have the same concept, to have the same open-mindedness of paying attention to what's possible with this kind of an industry, especially within the realms of the product that we've got, the product technology that we're so amazingly enthusiastic to have here. So I had been involved in the industry for a long time. I had ended up running my own company. I actually had a direct sales company for about 10 years that was a little bit different in the industry, but I was very much attuned to looking at health-related technologies that were cutting edge, perhaps close to the edge, maybe a little over the edge, stuff out there that conventional people didn't have an understanding of. But I really was looking for things that were dramatic to be able to impact people's lives in a big way. And I knew there were things out there, and I was looking for things that were breakthrough technologies that kind of got us free from the kinds of paradigms that we've been, using for so many years out there. And I got introduced to this company by a friend of mine, a woman that I had some business dealings with prior to do, by the name of Rosemary Skinner. She invited me to come out to Utah. Well, actually, the truth is I was in Utah. I was out there looking at some other businesses, and I called on Rosemary, and she introduced me to the son of the founder of the company, founder of the company, one of the founders of the company, Vertus Norton. She introduced me to his son, John, and John was sharing me the science about what this technology was all about. And within 15 minutes or so, I was like tracking totally with what he was saying, because I had been working on a piece of technology that I knew was related to the kind of science this is talking about. And I had been seeking this information for about 10 years. So I was poised and ready to be able to receive it. So let me go ahead and share this presentation a little bit. I'm not going to go deep into the science side of it. There's a lot of people very, very well qualified in this area here that can answer questions, and we can certainly answer questions afterwards. But I want to kind of first have you think back to what it was like when you were just getting out of, high school. when you were just kind of getting out into the world, you know, you had such great ideas, such dreams that you wanted to accomplish. And it seemed like there was nothing that could stop us from doing what we wanted to do. Okay. We all kind of can remember that if you think back on it. And then we get out into the work arena, and pretty soon we start to kind of get into this grind, into this pattern where we're basically doing the same thing over and over again. And it seems that we have to work harder and harder to achieve the same things. And we start to kind of shift our dreams from what we really intended to do to basically adjusting our lifestyle to the circumstances that we find ourselves in. And we're kind of in the situation that Thoreau talked about, where he talked about people leading lives of quiet desperation. And we kind of settle into that. And really, I had settled into that in the short period of time, even back in 1981, when I first got introduced to this concept. And, you know, because I was already in the work situation, and I already realized that I've got to follow the rules and everything of the people that were controlling everything. Even though it was in scientific research and I loved it, but I could be working on a project and be poised on thinking I'm going to make a breakthrough, and management could say, you know what, we're going to shift and do something completely different. In 2 years of preparation and breakthrough in that area just is completely gone. And you just got to do what you got to do. You having a problem there, Jerry?
Not me.
Yeah, you're playing on my computer, and
Yes, I was trying to cut the side out. So
okay, let's try it again. All right, sorry. Oops. There.
I was trying to full screen it.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So go ahead.
All right, so our daily routine. So that's where a lot of us find ourselves in when typically we're introduced to concepts about finding ways of making money outside of what we're currently doing. And I did that. I got involved in the network marketing industry back then on a part-time basis. And after about 5, 6 years or so, and I was very part-time, you know, I was, and you got to understand, you couldn't have paid me $1 million to get up in front of a room and do what I'm doing right now. I was the guy that if I had to get up and do a presentation at school, I was sick that day. I did not show up. I mean, that was like my biggest, you know, fear was doing that. So this was not a comfortable thing for me to do. And so it was something I had to slowly work my way in and force myself to do, because I wanted the outcome that I was seeking to get. So if you're like me, looking at this from that point of view, I can tell you, you don't worry about it. Don't sweat it. You know, I mean, the thing is in this industry is you can be yourself and deploy your own skills, your own personality to do this. And it took me a while to realize that. But when I did realize that, that's when I started having a breakthrough. And I started actually making some serious money in this industry. And I went full time in this industry back in 1981. And I haven't really looked back since then. And I've built some very large distributor organizations around the world. I've been working as a consultant for companies. I've had my own companies and things of that nature. So one of those companies that I had was a direct sales company, and I was working with a technology that had an effect of changing what's called redox, and I'll explain that in a little bit. And I knew that it was doing health benefits. I was seeing some amazing changes, but I had no idea why. I didn't know from a scientific point of view. And when I would sit down with doctors or scientists, I couldn't really explain what was causing these results that we were seeing. And it was very frustrating for me. And literally for 10 years, I was trying to figure it out. So when John sat down with me and he started sharing me this concept of redox signaling that we're going to be talking about, it was just like fireworks went off. And I started understanding for the first time this mechanism that I was so much looking for. So as we're in this state where we're kind of sort of leading lives of quiet desperation, trying to figure out, is there a better way? Or are we just going to, is this as good as it's going to get? And we settle in to whatever our circumstances are. We also find out that, there's other challenges. Many of us are not feeling as well as we'd like to, and we're seeing family members and friends starting to have health challenges and things of that nature. And people are trying a lot of different things and it's not working for them. And, you got that whole area of just not feeling great on top of this underlying feeling of, gee, I wish there was a better way. And in modern times, it just seems to be getting worse. I mean, people are not being able to put away the nest eggs that they used to. Many people have already blown through their nest eggs in order to just keep up with the way things were in the past. And then our kids, they go to school, and we wonder if it's really likely that they're going to be able to achieve the kind of success that we had when we were growing up. And so it's kind of not a fun situation that millions of us find ourselves in the country today. It's a really sad state of affairs. But there's solutions out there. They really are. There's business strategies that we can rely on that can really change us getting access to financial information and opportunities. And there are breakthroughs in the health arena, particularly in the area of cellular healing, that can change things on a dime when it comes to what's going on in people's health. So I want to kind of set the stage here by the understanding that our health truly begins at the cellular level. Now, a lot of people, unless they came from a biology background, don't necessarily have a sense of what that means at a cellular level. Okay, I mean, we think of ourselves kind of the way we think of our cars. They get old, they wear out, they rust out. But our bodies are comprised of cells, trillions of cells, 100 trillion cells. I mean, that's a lot of cells. Literally every day, our body is replacing 300 billion of these little cells. I mean, those are unfathomable numbers. So our body is a constant repair mechanism. It's able to respond to what's going on. And in ideal situations, it's repairing itself. It's only when that process gets compromised that things start to go awry. So you got these tiny little cells that make up everything. So basically, if you look about it, here are the cells, and they make up the tissues and make up the organs, the systems to ourselves. It all goes to cells. So basically, truly, we live and die at the cellular level. And so if our cells are healthy, at the end of the day, we're healthy. So instead of thinking about having a healthy heart, we want to think about having healthy heart cells and healthy brain cells and healthy liver cells and so on. So if we can actually touch things at the cellular level, we're really dealing at the crux of the situation. Now, there's been some dramatic breakthrough in research out there that has to do with this concept of redox signaling. And it turns out that redox signaling is at the very foundation of cellular health. And over the last 10, 15 years or so, it's exploded into the world of research, into the medical research community in the world, but not so much into the general public. I mean, so I started gathering some articles out there that I thought were really important. Here's one from a research institute, Scripps, down in San Diego, that talks about stem cells. And how many of you are familiar with stem cells? Okay, we hear about stem cells because it's in the media. They're pretty cool. They're really important. But it turns out that in order for stem cells to do their magic, it requires these redox molecules to do. So that was a pretty interesting article. Change your DNA, change your life. Well, we know how DNA is important, but the power of redox signaling molecules to heal your body from the inside out. We're discovering that these molecules, these things that we're talking about, have some pretty important possibilities of what it can do for people. And then you got universities opening up entire departments dedicated to redox biology. So what we learned over 50 years of biochemistry, we really have to reevaluate, those of us that kind of pay attention to that kind of stuff, because people weren't really paying attention to what was going on. These redox molecules are created in our body, in our cells, in the fluids in our body, particularly in the saline fluids of our body. So every cell of our body is immersed in this fluid. And for 50 years, everybody thought that these fluids were just kind of like, when a fish is swimming around in water, doesn't pay attention to the water. Well, our cells are bathed in this fluid, and it was realized that this fluid was actually very dynamic with these redox, which is kind of an electrical type of process going on. And they had to reevaluate all this biochemistry in lieu of the fact that it was being impacted by this electrical interchange, this redox interchange, and that spawned an entire new body of research called redox biology. So redox molecules are literally created within every cell of our body, okay? And they're responsible for this important and vital communications that allows our cells to do what they're able to do. And they're at the very foundation of cellular healing. So if cells are incredibly important, it's the redox signaling that allows the cells to do what they want to do. And it's become one of the fastest growing areas in scientific research. And there are thousands of peer-reviewed articles and growing on a monthly basis about how important redox signaling is. Now, I also wanted to point out, recently there was a Huffington Post article, and it talked about the 5 emerging technologies in science that's going to change things in the coming years. And here you go, redox signaling technology is considered one of the 5 emerging technologies that's going to change the way things are in the coming years. So this is important stuff. And I got that when I was talking to John. And I'm like, okay, this is super interesting. So what does this stuff actually do? Well, as we go through life and we move from being young to getting older in our years, our bodies produce less and less of these molecules. And we see the results of it. I mean, imagine a 4-year-old child, if they scrape their knee, you could hardly tell in a few days. It just heals unbelievably fast. But think about it, what happens to us as adults if we scrape our knee? How long does it take before that scab is completely healed? It can be weeks, months, or even longer. What's changed? Well, what's changed is we're producing less and less of these molecules that orchestrate the mechanisms that allow our bodies to fix themselves at the cellular level. And as a result of that, we just begin to feel and see the effects of aging on us, okay, as we start to pay attention to that as we get older. So what's really exciting is this huge redox breakthrough. Now, it's one thing to be able to know that these molecules are important, but the problem is no one's been able to actually find a way to increase these molecules within our bodies. They know that they're there, they know that they were important, but the breakthrough was the ability to actually be able to produce these molecules in a way that we can avail ourselves of them and restore these important molecules in our bodies. And the results, as you've been hearing from testimonials and seeing, as I'm sure people have been showing you, and we'll show again in a little bit here further on, that it's amazing the possibilities that has. So how do they make this stuff? Well, first off, they make it out of the same way our body makes it, out of this saline solution that's in all the fluids in our body. It produces it out of this salt and water solution in the body, and it does it through a highly patented electrical process that breaks down the molecules of the salt and water into its atoms and reconstructs it into these stabilized redox signaling molecules that are so stable that they could be put in a bottle that we can order and have delivered to us. That's a massive, massive breakthrough. Scientists around the world insist even today that it's impossible to do. And yet we've proven it. It is possible to do. And we've got the ability to do it. So you got to put that in perspective from the point of view of how powerful this really is, what the possibilities this is, not only for using it within our families and ourselves from our, for our own personal use, but what this portends as from the perspective of being able to develop a business around making this available to people around the world. So the way this basically began is the founders of this company had found out about this technology. Vertus Norton, who I explained, was invited to participate on the board of directors of a small publicly traded company that had done the initial research on this. And when he did his own investigation on it, he was really amazed at what was happening with this technology and decided to join their board. And then that company got into some financial issues, and Vertus and his colleague, Jim, essentially decided to acquire all the patents and technology and put together a company. Okay, and so they acquired this original technology, and they weren't really sure what to do with it, but they started sharing it with people, and they started having the amazing results that people that have in this room have been having, and people that you've been hearing from have been having. Okay, and so people started seeing these results, kind of talking about it, and pretty soon they had 100 and I think 35 people or so in 25 different countries that were using this product just by starting with 40 people that they gave product out to that were sharing it with friends and family. And they thought, wow, this is pretty powerful. You know, people don't even know what this stuff is. It's basically in unlabeled bottles, and people were so excited to share it, just having their own results with this. And so at that point, they had been talking to a pharmaceutical company that put a huge offer on the table saying, this is a real serious breakthrough and we're ready to acquire this. Okay. But they realized that if they accepted that offer, it would mean a lot of people wouldn't have access to this, because in the pharmaceutical world, generally when they're making a pharmaceutical product, it goes out there for one particular problem. You don't have one thing that's good for this, and yet it's good for that and that and that. And they saw over 100 things at that point that they were seeing results with. And so they made the decision that they felt that this was too important just to put it out there and have it just going out there to a small subset of the population. And so they decided that, you know, putting this together and keeping it available for friends and family was much more important to do. And it was a huge decision. So what began as a business venture in their minds ended up as a purposeful fulfilled mission to be able to keep this product available for people around the world. So why are people having such amazing results with this? Well, redox signaling molecules regulate literally every major system of the body. So it's incredibly important across the board for everything. And generally, you know, people will come up and say, well, is this good for this? And they would name XYZ condition. Is it good for that? Is it good for this? And, you know, everybody is asking those kinds of questions. And those of you that have been doing this for a while, I'm sure you know what I mean. But the reality is the answer is, does it have anything to do with cells? And of course, everything in our body has to do with cells. It all goes back to cells. And if it has to do with cells, by restoring the ability for cells to do what they are designed to do, amazing things can happen. Now, one of the things that was discovered in some of the research on it is it has the ability of increasing the effect of some really important antioxidants that are in the cell. Now, many of us hear about antioxidants all the time, but there's something called glutathione. And some of you may be familiar with glutathione, but if you Google glutathione, you'll find out that this is a miracle material that's in the cells. The cells need to produce it. You can't really take it externally, the cell, because it has to be produced inside the cell. But it's really important to keeping the cell working in so many ways. And I've researched it so much since I started getting involved with this. And I can tell you it's way, way more important than just the simple concept of an antioxidant. It's critically important to the electrical aspects of the cell as well. And it all has to do with this important cell-to-cell communications, basically empowering our body's renewal system to keep it functioning optimally, okay? I mean, think about it. When you cut yourself, you don't have to think about healing that wound, okay? It's not a conscious effort. Your body knows exactly what to do. It's amazing. It knows exactly what to do all the way around. It's only when all this process gets compromised and these communication systems aren't working effectively that things don't work as well. So if we could just restore it back to the way it was when we were younger, we don't have to tell the body what to do. We're not trying to manipulate the body and doing something it isn't capable of doing. We're just taking it back to its ability to do what it's able to do. We've also had clinical studies that show how important this is for oxidative stress, which is also a buzzword if you're out there on Google looking at what oxidative stress is doing. It's one of the great areas of causing health challenges in people as they're exposed to all kinds of environmental challenges and stress within their own environment. And for that reason, physicist Dr. Gary Samuel says that this technology has the potential to spearhead some of the greatest advances in health that we've ever seen. And all of us that have investigated this from a scientific point of view are in total agreement that this is amazing stuff. So I don't want you to take this lightly. This isn't just a variation on a theme. You know, we get so inundated in the media and on the internet of people making all kinds of claims about new breakthroughs, that this is going to change the world. And most of the time, maybe 99.9% of the time, it's just a slight variation on a theme. It isn't a real breakthrough, but we're talking about something that truly is a breakthrough. I mean, something that, schools are opening up entire departments dedicated to this redox science. One of the things that was discovered as we started getting this product out there into the marketplace was that athletes were coming back and saying, what is this stuff? They were taking it for health challenges. And then when they started getting back there and training again, they were finding huge impacts on their endurance, strength, recovery, mental stamina. And so leading world-class athletes now have been using this technology and using it somewhat quietly. They're not necessarily out there shouting from the rooftops so that their competitors know what they're doing. But these are some pretty serious guys. Eddie Hall now is like the strongest man in the world. And Cody Miller, he was just in the 2016 Olympics down in Brazil. He got his own bronze for the breaststroke and then a gold on the team medley for, I think it was the 100 meter. So these guys are using that. Gerard Ribert, Luis Ribert, he's a guy I've known for a long time. He's a world masters. He's 65 years old and he's been winning the world in his indoor cycling. And so 10-time world masters track. And he had a major industry. His doctor said, you're done for a year just in physical therapy before you can even begin to start training again. And he just like doubled and quadrupled up on his Asea. And within 2 months, he was training again, to the complete amazement of his doctor. And then he went on to win the gold for that year. I mean, totally amazing. Then there was an additional breakthrough that happened after they found a way to stabilize the stuff that we can drink it, where they found a way of stabilizing these molecules that we can use them externally as a gel that we can put on, that has been having amazing results for what's going on with people. And we've done clinical studies on that as well with Dermatest Research Laboratories, which is one of the world's leading dermatological testing labs out of Munich, Germany. And they found that it was completely safe for the whole family. They gave it their highest seal of approval for clinical testing for safety and efficacy. And they found amazing results in what it's doing for the physical aspects on people's skin. Things like the wrinkles and the elasticity, the texture, the quality and tone of the skin. And it wasn't just something where people were being asked, well, what do you think? They were using sophisticated equipment to take physical measurements to be able to determine this. And these were really powerful results. So 20% improvement, wrinkles and elasticity, visible reduction in redness and irritation. And then additionally, Stevens and Associates also did their own clinical studies. They found that there was a 16% faster skin renewal. Now, why is that important? Well, the reason this product was called Renew 28 is when we're young, our skin cells in our body generally take about 28 days to replace themselves. So about every 28 days, you literally have brand new skin, okay? But as we get older, it starts shifting from 28 to 30 to 35 to 40 to 60. And so we want to be able to restore the way it is back when we were younger. And even in the short period of time, I think it was 30 days that they were doing this study, they already saw a 16% faster skin turnover rate. That reinforces this idea that we're basically becoming biologically younger as a result of using these products. They also saw a 50% increase in skin blood flow, the microcirculation in the skin. I mean, this is enormous. I mean, very important for things like discomfort and irritation and inflammation in the skin, for injuries, as well as how incredibly important it is to get oxygen out through all of our tissues. So very, very important discoveries in that. Take a looking at some of the examples. The top row here are the before pictures. These are the after pictures using this Renew 28 twice a day for 1 month. And you can see amazing differences. This is actually Reidun Bond, who's a naturopath over in Norway, and getting to see this amazing difference that happened in her neck, the elasticity there. You can see what it's able to do for skin irritations and breakouts, and looking at the wrinkles and depth of the wrinkles and things of that nature. And here is a before and after picture in one. How many of you know Dr. Marty Moran? I mean, this guy is wild. He decided to put this stuff on one half of his face. One half of his face basically did it for about 6 weeks. And so this side, he's got no Renew 28. And then he had it on the other side. You can see an amazing difference. And I think after about 6 weeks, his wife insisted that he put it on the other side because he was starting to look like maybe he had a stroke or something. One side of his face was significantly different. So in any case, I mean, this is an amazing product. This is real stuff. This isn't like, people airbrushing this or using, Photoshop and changing this stuff. I mean, we are getting these, how many people in this room, either themselves or know somebody that's seen this kind of result? I mean, look around, it's not like one person in the meeting saying, well, yeah, I think I had something, I mean, these are tangible results that people are able to get. So, and it's not just for our face. I mean, there's different parts of our body that, I mean, all over where you put this stuff, you get the results, whether it's under your arms, just, what's people like, what is that picture? But that's the top of somebody's foot. There's your ankle there. Again, under the arms, the heels of the feet. I've seen amazing things with this, okay? Amazing, amazing things that I would have thought just were not possible, okay? They also did a study, a dermatest on cellulite, okay? 12-week study on cellulite, and before and after, 20% increase in skin elasticity, 50% reduction in the appearance. We have to say the appearance of cellulite. Okay, I mean, sure, appearance, but it actually reduced the size of these fat lobules that are there that give that sort of modeling effect in the skin. So basically, we've got amazing anti-aging technology. And it's not just anti-aging technology. I mean, this is technology that literally has performed almost miracles in people's lives in so many cases that I've seen, and I'm sure many of you have seen as well. People that I know would not be here today if it wasn't because of this product. But we have the ability to feel better with the Asea from the inside out, being able to drink this supplement. We have the ability to look better with Renew 28 from the outside in, with Renew 28, as well as our new Renew Advanced system, which is basically harnessed the redox signaling with that, along with some really powerful moisturizer and skin washer that's just amazing, that was designed to reinforce the redox signaling power of the redox Renew 28 in the serum. And so basically harnessing this redox signaling molecules, nobody else has been able to do it. That's the important thing. Very, very powerful, unique. We got the patents to back it up. So it's the only place in the world where you can get these exclusive breakthrough products. And also, it's been certified by Bioagilitics Laboratory, which is the leading biomarker research firm for the top pharmaceutical and biotech companies in the world, okay? So when I got started was in this company was really 7 years ago. And if you look at the bottle, and many of you probably have done this, and if you've gone on the internet, you read people that look at the bottle of Asea and they get to the ingredients and it says distilled water and sodium chloride. And people are going, yeah, right. You want me to pay $40, $50, $60 for a bottle of salt and water? I mean, you think I was born yesterday? And you get these people on the internet, and they're saying that. And I'm talking to Gary Samuelson, who helped do a lot of the research on this. And they're saying, no, you just don't understand. That's what we start with. And then it goes through this highly patented process over 3 days to convert these molecules into these amazing redox signaling molecules that we've stabilized in it. We're not starting with redox signaling molecules. That's what we have at the end of the product. But it was tough when we weren't able to prove it in the early days, because a lot of people just said, they're like, from Missouri, prove it. I want, and so to have bioagilitics now certifying it on the bottle gives us very, very powerful position to be able to say, okay, it's real. They certify it. You can't pay these guys to say something that isn't true. They test every batch of the product. So imagine having this amazing breakthrough in wellness, anti-aging, athletics, and skincare. Okay, so what do we do about it? We've got no competition, no copycats. How are we going to share this information? How are we going to tell this powerful story that's out there? Well, Virtus, who was one of the founders of the company, he was the one that was on the board of directors of that company and then acquired this technology. He's a powerful guy. He had retired from Kraft General Foods as the VP of strategy. It was a $35 billion company at the time. So he knows a thing or two about strategy. And so they did a strategic evaluation of what was the best way of getting this product out to the market. And, they already decided not to sell it to a pharmaceutical company. So they decided they had to do it on their own. What was the best way to do it? On the retail, through, different practitioners, doing infomercials. There was a lot of different possibilities to do. And because of the unique and amazing way of what this product is and the story behind it, they really decided after extensive evaluation that there was really only one way to get this product effectively on the market. And that was to harness it through the process of network marketing, where people are able to build a network of distribution to be able to share the knowledge about products and services, to be able to share their story, because people believe in the hearts of the people that they know. And they share the stories, they see the results that people are having, and it's one of the most efficient ways of getting information out there. So take a look at different marketing channels. We typically think of radio and TV as the greatest ways of getting information out there from a market business strategy point of view. And modern times, we have things like the internet, search engine optimization, and online directories, and email as the greatest way to do it. But look at how word of mouth marketing still exceeds everything as the greatest way of getting information out there, because people trust the people that they know. And we are so cynical and so skeptical about what you see on the internet and what you see on TV. I mean, again, it's like you could hardly believe any of it. So if you take a look at the industries that are out there, it's really amazing to understand that this global network marketing industry is huge. It's bigger than all these industries combined. Thinking about it, $183 billion. There's a lot of products that are going out there through this mechanism out there. I didn't know this when I was first looking at it. I didn't understand how powerful this industry was. And you take a look at some of the main figureheads out there talking about it. You got guys like Warren Buffett. He owns like 3 network marketing companies. Why does he own them? Because he knows they're powerful business models to get goods and services out to the marketplace. And then you got guys like Robert Kiyosaki, who for years has been lecturing all over the world about the power of network marketing, people having a home-based business to be able to take advantage of that. And as a result of that, getting their taxes under control and then investing in income-producing activity. He talks all about the power of harnessing that and rich dad, poor dad. But this is very important. People are embracing this. So this whole concept about the income you can get from this industry truly is powerful. So it has to do with this concept called leveraging income. Now, years ago, J. Paul Getty, if you're familiar with J. Paul Getty, at the time he was the wealthiest private citizen in America. And he said that I would rather have 1% of the efforts of 100 people than 100% of my own. He understood the power of leverage. So taking a look at how that kind of can work. So let's say you put together a team of about 40 people in Asea, that you decide that this is something you really want to delve into, and you start getting excited about the product and sharing it with individuals and see the value of what this is all about. And you got a team of 40 people that are out there taking advantage of this technology. If they only put in an hour a day into their business, 1 hour a day, you've got 40 hours a day going into your business. So you can see the power of leverage. Impossible for us to do individually. We can put in 8, 10, 12 hours a day, in our own business, but 40 hours a day. But the reality is you can make it as big as you like. There's no ceiling because there's no limit to the number of people that can become part of your organization. And the beauty of this is that once you get it going and it starts getting to a certain critical mass, you can't stop it because the people are not doing it for you or for me. They're doing it for themselves. And they may know somebody in a whole different area. You have somebody in Spokane that has a brother in LA that knows somebody in Paris, that knows somebody in Australia, that knows somebody back here in California. It just starts bouncing around, and pretty soon you got business going on 24/7 around the world, whether you think about it or not. And then you have this concept of residual income, where the work that we do brings ongoing income because you can share this product with somebody and they love this product and they start using it on an ongoing basis, and you're earning over and over and over again off of the initial time and effort that you put in. So these two concepts, leverage and residual, is very, very powerful income. And Asea as a company, if you're evaluating it as a company like many of us did when we started taking a look at it seriously, these guys are a powerful company. I mean, they have literally world-class leadership in terms of the people that are running it. They're financially strong. They've been profitable since the first year of inception. They've got no debt. They've got scalable infrastructure to handle about $1 billion worth of business out of their own manufacturing facility built to the highest standards. And as I've been mentioning, they're in markets all around the world, currently 26 markets, where there's another 4 of them that they're in the process of opening right now, in places like Hong Kong, and Thailand, and the Philippines, and Dominican Republic. But you can see that we've hardly, started in terms of what's available out there in the world. It's just an amazing thing. And if you've been in business on your own and you want to open up, your business expanded into another country, that is a massive endeavor to do. It is huge capital intensive and all the headaches that go along with it. And here, all you do is call somebody in that market. Now, as many of us know, it's not as simple as just calling somebody in that market. Okay, there's a process of getting people educated and trained, and especially helps if you happen to know the language. Okay, but nonetheless, the possibilities truly are amazing. So we've also got very powerful tools, support tools, along with very powerful support teams. And those of you here and in this area have probably got the best support team, bar none, in the entire company. You guys are extremely blessed to be working with the folks here in this area. But we've got a very powerful business coach system that actually is able to tell you step by step what, how, and what to do. We got powerful training and recognition systems. And most importantly, for me, this company has incredible personal development focus in terms of the ethos of what the company is all about, and really putting a lot of power and insight into that, and very special trainings that we do. And historically, we're at the right place at the right time. If you take a look at where Asea is, we're post-startup and pre-momentum. When you start getting into this phase of a company, it's almost growing linearly in terms of how quickly things are happening, and it grows like wildfire. Now, I've experienced that in the past, where I was in a company and literally ended up with hundreds of thousands of distributors in 17 countries. Did I do all that? No, I worked with a handful of people, about 30 people that I was working closely with. But when it got to this phase, it's like having a net out there to catch the business as it's happening. And so we're at the right place at the right time for building that initial net that is just going to mushroom as this thing really takes off. We've been recognized by the Direct Selling Association in 2015 in their top 100. So we are in the right place at the right time with this. So the real question is seeing all this information and pondering it, where do you see yourself? Okay, You can get involved in using this product as a consumer, taking advantage of this incredible technology. You can see how this can improve your financial position on a part-time basis, and being able to add this to what you're doing, like I did when I first got involved in this industry and did that for 5, 6, 7, 8 years before I finally was able to say to my boss, you know what? I can't afford to work for you anymore. And that was a lot of fun. I'm telling you, the look on his face, because literally I was making, almost double at that point on my part-time business than what I was making on my full-time business that I had spent years getting to that position. Okay. So at that point, you can make a choice to basically create a legacy for your family and really build a big time business on doing it. So the real question is, do you see an opportunity? Can you imagine having a global business taking advantage of that sort of thing? So you could choose to enroll as Asea, and as an associate Asea, basically, it costs less to do that than it takes to fill your gas tank. You can choose to purchase a case and a couple of tubes of Renew 28. And if you do that on a regular basis, the company right now is going to give you some extra marketing tools, sample tubes of this. You can develop ongoing loyalty points as a result of getting these on a regular basis. That will give you free cases of Asea Renew over the course of time as you're getting this on an ongoing basis. And if you see this from an opportunity point of view, you're going to want to take advantage of some of the great opportunities at getting the 4 and 8 case options of the Asea or the Renew 28 because of the discounts that are available that you're able to take advantage of at the time of enrollment. So think about this. We're talking about 3 massive industries: skincare, anti-aging, athletics, health and wellness. No one else has this. Almost no one has heard about it yet, okay? The question is, do you want people to hear about it from someone else, or do you want to have them hear about it from yourself? So do you see an opportunity of taking advantage of this? Can you see yourself doing it? Or are you going to look back at this meeting and as just another missed opportunity, another meeting that you went to, and years later you go, I was there and I could have taken advantage of it, but I just didn't feel it at the time? Or do you want to take advantage of moving into action? Opportunity and preparedness really have to intersect for things to take advantage of, for things to really happen. I mean, we could really be prepared for an opportunity. We could be studied and we're looking for the right thing. And even when we see the right thing, if we don't decide to actually make a decision and to take action, it just doesn't happen. So I encourage you to do that, to take action so that you can take advantage of the kind of lifestyle that so many people in Asea have been able to have for themselves and their family. I mean, it's just amazing what's possible out there as a result of doing this. And if you do, I'd really like to congratulate you for taking that first step to really making a huge difference in your life and getting back to the people that invited you to this presentation so that they can help you get started in a really productive way to take advantage of this business. And really, collectively, we have the opportunity to change the world. So with that, I'll turn it back over.